So, Sean, do you remember must-see TV in the 1980s?
Oh, yeah. Wasn't that was NBC?
Yeah, and this is Don't See TV. TV pilots that never were. The AI gave us these.
Oh, well, all praise the AI. I want them to program my life right now.
I gotta say, a lot of these seem to be offensive in one way or another, but that was how the 80s and 90s were, right?
Oh, that was all about offensive. That was why they're my favorite decade. Number
1 is Super Truck.
Super Truck.
This was at a time when everybody loved truckers and monkeys, right?
10-4, good buddy.
And so it was like a super stretch truck, right?
And not only that, it was a futuristic truck.
These people were fighting crimes.
And it was nuclear powered. It was a nuclear powered...
Oh, it was a nuclear powered
Yes,
truck.
how else would it go? It's a super truck. It wouldn't be super if it just took gasoline.
Also playing off this A-Team Dukes of Hazzard thing.
That's right. But the Dukes of Hazzard caused crimes, I think, more. And so did the A-Team.
Number 2, my favorite, Night in the Hood.
In the Hood! Dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
So here's the plot summary for Night in the Hood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that it's a time-traveling knight from Sir Arthur's Round Table.
Actually, it was King Arthur.
Who ends up accidentally landing in Compton of the late 1980s. Gets adopted by a black family. So the hilarity that ensued was, of course, that this Caucasian knight could not possibly understand the mores of the Compton area in the 1980s. The theme song was really good. It was like, bum, 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 bum. You know,
That
the Hood.
It wasn't racist enough unless they said
The Hood. So number 3 here had 2 different names. It was originally called You Such Dummy.
And I would like to say to all our listeners out there, Godspadanya.
Okay, so I actually took Russian for 4 years, and that's not how you say that.
Godspadanya. In Soviet Russia, Godspadanya says you.
Here's the thing, that Yakov Smirnov, do you know who that is?
Oh, he was hilarious. He was a hilarious Russian guy.
Made fun of Soviet Union. So Yakov Smirnov was the recent emigre from the Soviet Union. Goes and moves in with his Katya or something, who is Charlotte Ray from Facts Life, who is Mrs. Garrett.
Oh, hilarious.
Who was herself a Russian emigre. So this must have been a passion project for her. She was trying to teach her nephew how to speak English. She taught him wrong because she could barely speak English. So he would always get in these hilarious situations where he was going up to people on the street and being like, could I eat your head or whatever? And then the people would be like, you know, he was getting in trouble and stuff, and he'd come home and he'd be like, Tetya, why do I always get in trouble? And she was like, you such dummy. Sean, I think you're the most appropriate person to introduce this particular Lost pilot.
SysOps was about the computer lab at a high school.
But what is a SysOp, Sean?
A SysOp is somebody who runs a bulletin board, a computer bulletin board.
Hello World, that was the slogan. So it seems like the producers at least knew enough about computers to say hello world.
Imagine if War Games had been turned into
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Well, it was more like Saved by the Bell because it was network TV.
Yes, you're right.
That
if Saved by the Bell and War Games were crossed, that would be SysOps.
That is SysOps, and they were the coolest.
No, they weren't. They were nerds in their high school.
But they were cool nerds.
I think you just watched this pilot and you thought, they're like me, so they're cool.
Yeah, of course. What else would I do?
Right, and I looked at them and said, those are like those kids that I didn't see until they graduated. Sean, what is number 6?
Number 6 on our list, Little Darlings. My rocket's shooting out the back.
Oh, you should see a doctor about that. So Starship Alabama is a musical.
Oh, was it ever? It was a starship, get it?
It was a ship full of stars.
That was a pun, but it was also a starship.
But they were also traveling through space to bring country music.
Exactly, to bring country music to the universe. Right. Because the biggest problem, the aliens have never experienced country music. And so Starship Alabama...
It's Star Trek with country music.
That's right.
Yes, but didn't the country singers who were involved later disown the entire thing?
Bama!
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide!